demands that you bear arms. Okay? So we got to be careful what we tell our children. I'm for gun control. Control your gun. The Moors, as we see them developing and as we look at their development across the world, what we have to do is we have to break it up into certain areas. When we look at this and we understand who the peoples were in terms of who the Moors were, what we begin to do is just look at the word Moor, because they will try to tell you a lot of things about the word Moor. They are now even trying, I mean, I've heard them say actually, and in books, I'm talking about books that we give our children, that the peoples of North Africa were dark complexion Caucasian. No, I'm telling you, I saw it this year. I could give you the company's name. I've seen this. And they got it all up in this, and they got maps on it where they break up the people, and they have peoples up in here that they would even dare say that they were Vandals. And historically speaking, the Vandals and the Visigoths came down in here, but they never were in control of North Africa at the time that they're saying, and they're not in control of North Africa now. But you see, again, if we're not writing the books, then we can't say, you know, it's like that Paul Revere's horse. You know, Paul Revere's horse was having a discussion with the other horses in the stable. And Paul Revere's horse said, you know, if I had written that story, I'd have been the hero because I'm the one that carried him through the town in the first place. So Paul Revere is not, but it's according to who writes the story. You know, the horse was the hero in that story, but Paul Revere got the credit. And the same is true in terms of our history. You know, it's all according to who's writing the books, and this is why they are doing so many different things to the history books, and what they're doing to Molefi Asante, and what they're doing to our brother Dr. Ivan Van Sertima, and to all of the others in the attacks, because they understand what the Melanic figure is. And I'm telling you now that if this community, if our community, and if our children could get a sense of who they were, our children could do in the classroom what Tiger Woods is going to do on the golf course. Now, putting aside all of the brother's personal feelings and beliefs and all the rest of that, and looking at him as a golfer, you can't get better. Not only can't you get better, but he is going to find new and inventive ways of playing golf that has never been seen before. Just as we did in basketball, just as we did in baseball, just as we do in every sport, just as we're doing what our brother John Singleton is doing in the arts, and what our brother Spike Lee is doing, and our sisters are doing, Terry McMillan and all the others. They're bringing things to another level. I've seen Spike Lee do things to that camera, use it in a way that I've never seen people use it before. And I'm saying that we're going to bring things to everything we touch is the same thing that the Moors did. But you have to understand what the Moors did to understand exactly the role that they played in history. Because some of us have Moorish blood in us. And because we cannot place it right, we do not put it all together again. It was Napoleon himself who commented that Africa begins at the Pyrenees. Now the Pyrenees is a mountain range that is somewhere between Spain and Portugal. Now Napoleon III, on his inspection of that area, said, because, you know, when the show came out, Hunchback of Notre Dame, I kept telling, you know, I really didn't want to take them. I really didn't want to take my family to see it, but I understand pressure, you see, and I bend and I twist, but I wasn't going to let it go. So I kept saying before the movie, and even during the movie, I kept saying, I want you to look, and I want you to figure out, why is Esmeralda so dark? That's all I kept saying. Why is Esmeralda so dark? Because I wanted my young ones to go into the movie house understanding that there was something they were looking for. They were looking to find out why Esmeralda was so dark. Why was Esmeralda so mistreated, she and her people, in that area of Europe where they were living, in the Hunchback of Notre Dame, the way in which the people treated these so-called gypsies? You see? Now this is what Malcolm was talking about when he was talking about language. See, language is very important, because to understand who the gypsies were, all you have to do is one very important thing, but if you don't do it, you're going to miss it. But if you do it, it's the whole thing. All you got to do is put an E before gypsies. And then you understand who the gypsies were, and you'll understand why Esmeralda was so dark, because they were the Moors. They were the Egyptians. They were the Moors who had been in Europe, and who, after being chased out, became despised because of what they contributed to the community. That is why you'll notice that the gypsies were always reading palms. They were much into astronomy. They were very much into spirituality. They were much into the structure of the society. Why? Because they brought forward this wisdom and knowledge from Africa into Europe. And one of the first things that the European males wanted to do when they wanted to take over the civilization, the Visigoths and the Vandals, was they had to break the power of the woman. This is why it's important to understand that the concept of burning women at the stake didn't happen in Salem, Massachusetts. In fact, that's why Europeans were kicked out of Europe in the first place, because the people were saying, you know, you can't go around burning your woman just because she had an orgasm. Yeah, I mean, that happens sometimes, you know. If you just happen to last long enough, that can happen. But this is what they were doing. If anything occurred out of the ordinary, they would... Homosexuals, we have the term we call faggot. Now, where did the word faggot come from? Faggot came from the fact that in Europe, when someone was of homosexual or gay preference, what the community did is that they made them go out and collect their own sticks that they would burn them at the stake for. And little sticks, twigs, are called faggots. So as they would send these individuals of homosexual or gay or lesbian background out to collect sticks, instead of just saying collect the faggots, they started calling them the faggots. And that's where the word came from. See, we have to understand language. If you don't understand language, you're going to miss things. Because we are living an illusion here. And that is because we've allowed people to define us. And we've accepted their definition. Part of the reason why we have many people celebrating Mother's Day today is because they have accepted a definition. Why? Because Europeans don't treat their mothers right. Therefore, they got to have a day where they say, okay, we're not going to whip you today, Ma. That's how we're going to celebrate Mother's Day. We're not going to whip you. We as an African people, we have sat at the feet of our mothers all our lives. Look at our music. Today, Kiss Alone has nothing but music that we played dedicated to our mothers. Tell me how many songs they have dedicated to their mothers. Think about it. How many songs Europeans have dedicated to their mothers? They may have some, but they don't have, like, they can't play the whole radio day with them like they can do in Kiss FM. But that is because we are a people who have always understood what honor is. Honor is an everyday thing. And the festivity of what we have... See, we never celebrated individuals, which is Western civilization bound. They celebrate individuals. Mother's Day, Father's Day, Christmas Day is Christ, and Easter is Christ. We celebrated events, such as harvests, such as days of our ancestors. But we never celebrated people days the way they celebrate this. Why? Because it's all commercial. Making all this money today, like the brother was breaking down. All these flowers, all these other things that they're going to be going out here trying to convince your mother that you love her so tomorrow you can go out and you're not going to speak to her now for another week or two. See, it's not the way. In fact, most of the time, a lot of African folk, we all live together anyway. So we don't have to travel from another town and to see our mother because mother is with us, or at least somewhere within us. These are the kind of concept that the Moors just did not bring. This is a European concept. And what we've got to begin to do is look at the realities of what we're facing. The origins of the word Moor. Just let me give you some examples of the word Moor. There was a brother, or a gentleman by the name of Richard Hakluyt. He was a traveler in the 1400s who he reported that in the old times the people of Africa were called Ethiops or Moors or Morens, which means that the word Moor was used for anybody of dark complexion. Like Ethiop means land of burnt faces. Moors meant black. In Spanish, mora is blackberry. Moreno is dark complexion. Moreno also means sweetheart. Mira, morena. You know, when you say morena in Spanish, sometimes that means sweetheart. Sometimes you say even negrita, that's sweetheart. Why? Because the African woman was the sweetheart of the nation. That is the woman who was held up, just like we hold up the European woman, the blonde, the skinny, all that stuff that we say is the model. In Africa, it was the African woman who was that model of what all perfection was. In French, moricard means dark skin. Morillon means black grape. In Italian, mora means Negro or Moorish female. Mora also means blackberry, which when you go to Spanish, mora means blackberry. And then you have moraiola, M-O-R-A-I-O-L-A, which means a black olive. So you have the derivation of the word Moor, so they can't get out of the concept of what the word meant. The word means black. You cannot put other people's faces up here, you know, and say that they were light complexion Ethiopians. Ethiopian mean black face. So if you say light complexion Ethiopian, you're talking about a light complexion burnt face. But you see, when you're speaking English, English says that you can say what you want to because you control people's minds. So if you say it, it is. Like amen. Amen. We say amen means so be it. Amen does not mean so be it. Amen could never mean so be it in the Latin language. Amen means hidden waters that the Kemites gave to the Christian church, that in Latin, they just said, amen means so be it. So be it is a sentence. If you turn that around, so be it, you say it be so. it being the object or the subject.